fortune for the Lord Jesus Christ, sailing the seas of culture, a real heist. Come along for a view that's unique and so true, an adventure with Rick, the Privateer's Crew.
Hello, and welcome to the Privateers Volley. My name is Rick Hidalgo. Welcome, Levitical Kingdom Privateers, to a show that's going to talk about, well, something near and dear to my heart today. First, I want to look at the chat and welcome Planeflyer21. Welcome to the show. So glad to see you here. And those of you that are be joining shortly, you're welcome as well. I'm going to get into my opening statement here. So give me 1 second to get there. And with that, here we go. If you've ever wondered what it would be like if a family refused to quietly absorb the culture around them, if they chose instead to build something deliberate, rooted, unapologetically different, then you found the right story. A Time to Live is a multi-season cinematic universe centered on a South Dakota ranching family whose way of life is shaped by faith, hard work, and a carefully guarded ancestral secret. At the heart of the story stands the Mulligan family. Daniel and Elizabeth Mulligan, the patriarch and the matriarch of the family, their 6 young adult children, and the network of ranch hands, neighbors, and eventually allied families who share life on a 200-acre prairie land. What begins as a portrait of ordinary ranch life, early mornings in the barn, family meals around a long wooden table, quiet conversations about the day's work, slowly reveals something far larger. The Mulligans are not simply traditional. They are intentional. They govern their household and their land according to principles drawn from Scripture and from a private book passed down through generations. That book, titled A Time to Live, was written by Claude Mulligan, the family's great-great-grandfather. Claude was an early aviator and he was an explorer who, during an expedition of Antarctica, witnessed something that permanently altered the course of his life. A mountain in the middle of a storm transformed into a shining crystalline city under a beam of golden light, breaking through a violent storm. The experience sent him on a lifelong journey, a search for understanding. He went to Ethiopia, the Himalayas, the Amazon jungle, the Australian outback. He went to Egypt and visited the Mayan ruins and many, many other places. What he recorded in his leather-bound volume was never meant for public consumption. It contains testimonies and observations that challenges the official narratives of history and culture. The Mulligans believe that book is both a gift and a responsibility. Certain forces, they know, would prefer its contents erased. The tension sits at the center of the series. One of the sons, Joseph Mulligan, carries a classified military burden that intersects with a larger worldwide agenda. His sister, Rebecca Mulligan, working in intelligence for the Air Force, begins to piece together connections that threaten the family's carefully maintained independence. Meanwhile, daily life on the ranch continues. Fences are mended, livestock are tended, children are educated on the property, and family councils are held for prayerful seriousness. The ordinary and the extraordinary exist side by side. Over over time, the story expands beyond the Mulligans themselves. The series is designed as a 12 family saga. Other households from around the world, each with their own history, strengths, and wounds, will eventually join the Mulligans in a larger experiment of self governing community, a life on the prairie. Some of those families will come from coastal power centers, and others will arrive from quiet places. The friction between different worldviews, the slow building of trust, and the shared decision of life and living itself differently from the border arc is what forms the the broader arc of the series. Visually and tonally, this series, Time to Live, aims for a grounded cinematic realism. Think golden hour light across rolling South Dakota hills, a red barn with a big flag and wooden cross, the warm interior of a farmhouse kitchen where conversations about eternity happens over plates of food. The production is being developed with modern AI tools, allowing for a level of visual consistency and scale that would once have been impossible for an independent project. Yet the heart of the work remains human. The faces of the characters, human. The weight of their choices, human. And the quiet conviction that truth is worth protecting even when it is inconvenient. This podcast will walk along this film series. We'll explore the characters in greater depth, discuss the themes of faith, family governance, cultural resistance, and spiritual inheritance, and give you insight into how the story is being built. We'll talk about Claude's book, the meaning behind the family's daily practices, the pressure that Joe and Becky carry, and that's Joe and Becky Mulligan, and the larger vision of the 12 families learning to live as a deliberate community. If you're looking for pure escapism, this isn't the place to be. A Time to Live asks harder questions. What does it mean to see the world through Scripture rather than through the dominant culture? What happens when a family decides that certain truths are too important to surrender? And what kind of life becomes possible when people choose to build something lasting instead of simply drifting with the current? Glad you're here. The ranch is open and the table is set. That is my opening statement. So, in the beginning, when I began to contemplate what I was going to do, it all stemmed from my desire to teach self-governing. It is an area that God has given me some exclusivity on. He's given me experience because I've done it for many years. And there's not a lot on the subject. If you look around, it's not something that's out there. So I wrote a book. The book was just basically my experiences, examples of the things that I've done. And while there was some effectiveness to that, nothing is as effective as storytelling in our culture. From the beginning of time, we've been sitting around campfires, been sitting around kitchen tables, we've been sitting around grassy knolls, or wherever your family happens to be sitting, telling stories about old times, telling stories about heroes, the hero's journey, telling stories about Jesus, telling stories about the Scripture, in order to bring family to a greater understanding of why we're here, what we're doing, and why specifically they are here. So when I first started investigating what my next steps were going to be, ultimately I landed on the idea of starting to put together a TV project. For a long time, that TV project was pretty steep as far as the expenditures go. It was a very difficult thing to do. And for a long time, AI was really inconsistent and incapable of doing what I am now doing. But because of the increase in the technology and the ability of the technology to look real and to be able to maintain some degree of consistency, of course, the caveat there is that you have to learn how to prompt. If you're not a good prompter, the AI is going to do stupid things. I have examples of that. I'm sure that I could show you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the ins and outs of what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to show you some pictures of the characters. I'm going to show you some of the fun that I've been having. I'm going to show you what work goes into doing this, and the forethought that it takes in order to accomplish it. Because prompting is not just telling a story so that a computer can recognize what it is that you're looking for. There's a lot more that goes into it. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of what goes into it. But this series, my intention is to show how the vision that you have for your family will never come to a place of an end. Okay, it will never come to an end. There's a constant evolving, there's a constant growing to it. Once you actually learn what the benefits and what the results of self-governing are, that you can actually do this in this world, and that the world really has a very difficult time overcoming it if you do it right, you're going to notice that there's a pattern, and that pattern is teachable, and it's exactly what I'm trying to do through this movie or this TV series. But the thought is to show the failures of the past as just overcomable obstacles. There have been many efforts to start communities across the world, and those efforts for those communities are constantly challenged because of issues of governance. There's always an unwillingness to cooperate. There's always different people thinking different ways, an inability to come into a place of understanding with one another and create a governance that's going to be consistent over time. This TV series hopes to show how you can do that, and how the governance actually is the key to starting your community. So as more and more people begin to recognize the true definition of Babylon, and that is any system that tries to compel you to serve two masters, and as people continue to recognize that Babylon's methodology to pull you into that is to bring you into the cities, is to bring you into the metropolis, so that they can govern the interactions of men within the metropolis. And by governing those interactions through state statutes, that they can govern the interaction of people who are in rural areas. They can govern the interaction of the rest of the people. It is the ultimate strategy of the Babylonian system. And we have to be able to overcome it. And the only way to overcome it is to govern our communities so that we don't need the default governance of the Babylonian system. And that's what this TV series is all about, because it starts with the Mulligan family. And I'm going to show you the Mulligan family. I've got to share my screen here. Give me just 1 second to do that. I'm going to add that to the stage and show you right here. Okay. So these are some of the characters. This fella here with the aviation gear on. This is Claude Mulligan. He is the primary focus of the setting up of the story. He's the one who does some exploration of the Antarctic, and he's the one who visualizes the crystalline city in the storm. That literally, as soon as the golden beam goes away, the crystalline city turns back into a mountain. He's the one that sees all of that before his eyes, and it challenges his understanding of the world. So the first episode, the pilot episode, excuse me, the pilot episode is 100% driving an understanding of all of the interaction that he gets, that he has, his how he's coming into a place of understanding. You see him sign off on the book. I'm going to show you the official intro of the pilot episode here shortly, the long intro. It's going to be just a little bit over 2 minutes. But Claude Mulligan is the feature understanding. Without the background of understanding what he saw, what he went to explore, what he went to ask questions about, and establishing that narrative. The rest of it doesn't. That's Colonel. Hold on. Colonel Tyler. Okay. And Colonel, you see buffering? I don't know. I shouldn't be buffering. I'm not sure. Anyway, I know the recording doesn't have buffering, so hopefully this is being recorded properly. But so the fella to his, the guy with the jet black hair, that is the handler for Tommy. He fought in the Chechenian War, but he's an American agent who works for a deep state organization who is looking to erase all of the, in any leftover evidence of a time gone by. And here, I got to do something real quick here just to make sure I don't. All right. So those two are working together to look for evidence of people who know too much, you might say. And it comes to Tommy's attention, the guy in the red shirt. It comes to his attention that the Mulligans have knowledge of ancient bells and how they were used as as far as their frequency. And the reason he comes to this knowledge is because Tommy owns a antique shop where a Mulligan has contacted them because they're about to do a ritualistic kind of a rite of passage, if you will, for one of their daughters. So they ordered a bell so that they could have a bell to perform this particular rite of passage that they're that they're going to do as part of their self-governing process. So so he finds out that this guy knows a little bit more than he's supposed to know. So they're working together to try to infiltrate the Mulligan family. And the way that they're attempting to infiltrate the Mulligan family is that the daughter, Becky, who works in intelligence, is this lady over here, all the way to the far left on your screen. Becky is an intelligence officer in the Air Force, and she is the one who's picking up the bell because she's coming in to be a part of this family rite of passage ritual. So she goes to pick up the bell and has a conversation with Tommy, who is a strikingly handsome man, and she's a strikingly beautiful woman. And you can kind of see where maybe something is being set off there. Directly in the middle of your screen is Joe. Joe is the intelligence officer for the Navy, who catches some conversation going on among elite channels about looking for those people who have too much understanding or knowledge. So there's conversations between the two of them. He's out on the Navy ship in the middle of the Black Sea, and she's coming home for this ritual. You see some other people. There's a farmhand there. The kid with his hat turned backwards is a farmhand. The older gentleman that's next to him is also another farmhand. He's the one that's setting up the event. That's I think I'm going to have finished the pilot episode. Haven't come to a complete determination yet, but I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. But what I just highlighted there, that's the mother, the matriarch of the family. There's a younger daughter there. Over here, we have another farmhand, Micah Ruiz, and his wife. Over here, they are farmhands. You have a character that I've not used yet here. But this lady right in the middle and the gentleman just to the left, they both work at Tommy's Antiques. So they play a big role in the leading into the contact and all that kind of thing as well. So, and the gentleman here, he provides a little bit of comedy relief because he's kind of a buffoon. He's a clown. So anyway, that's kind of how it all works together with the mulligans and the bigger thing that's going on there. So basically, the storyline, the way it's working out in the pilot episode is we're introducing the book. We're introducing the concept of having some knowledge that's not supposed to be had. We're introducing the bad guys who are trying to erase that knowledge, and we're introducing the different nuances in those relationships that are happening. So it's a story full of very interesting nuances. There's lots of conspiracy theory involved here, no question, because there's organic organizations that are, worldwide, who are trying to put a stop. There's a so far unveiled gentleman who's obviously one of the top elites who have not showed yet. So there's a lot going on in this particular thing. But what I want to do is I want to show you what I have to do is I have to come over here and stop sharing, because I want to come back over here. And what I want to do is I want to play for you the intro. This is a 2-minute and 26-second long form intro to introduce to you the idea of the book and the adventures of Claude Mulligan. We'll be right back after the showing of this cinematic intro. So that's the cinematic intro to the TV series on the pilot episode. There'll be a shorter version of that, going forward, on the different on the additional episodes. But that shows you a lot of his adventures and plants the idea in your mind that there's something about this adventure and this book that's really important. And so that took a little bit of work to put these kind of things together, and I want to kind of show you what that work looks like, because for the first time in history, I don't have to go to a Hollywood studio and pitch an idea. For the first time in history, I don't have to have a whole bunch of people on on my team to produce, to edit, to do all the fine instrumentality of putting something truly cinematic together. I can actually do that from a prompt in a free AI program. Now, the reason I use a free AI program is because I've learned that if I stay within a particular folder, I want to call it a folder, within my conversation, I can teach the AI exactly what it is I'm looking for, and it'll have consistency. The moment I go out of that folder and into another folder, either paid or free or whatever, it starts to get inconsistent because it hasn't worked with me. It doesn't know what I want. So I want to show you a picture of what that looks like. What you are seeing in front of you is one of my latest prompts. And let me see if I can make this just a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll take myself. No, that doesn't matter. All right. So let me show you the prompt that I've learned how to prompt here. Okay. And let me show you the prompt. This little, right in the center of your screen, there's a paragraph. And what I've learned is when you use different AIs in order to create AI pictures or AI videos, you have to be understanding of what that profile is looking for. So when I create an AI video in a program called Kling, I'm using Kling 3.0 to produce all of my video, which produces beautiful cinematic stuff. You just saw my intro. It's looking for a particular language. It wants camera language. It wants like cinematic language. It wants, what do you want the person to do, like motion language. It wants all those things categorized in a particular way. Well, once I figured that out, and I've been learning as I go, once I figured that out, I could put a very simple prompt in here, and I can't quite see that on my screen. I got to take my glasses off. Excuse me here. Give me a second. Okay. Trying to make it bigger on my other screen. Oof, there we go. That really helps. Okay. Yeah, I like that much better. No, maybe it's too big now. Wait a minute. I will get this right. Give me a sec. Let's see. It's gonna zoom back out just a little bit here. All right, here we go. I think that's much better. Okay, so let me show you that's the actual what he came up with. But here's okay. So like, here's the next 15-second theme idea. It wants you to call it a theme idea. If you use any other name, Kling is going to be like, oh, okay. Kling has no idea. It's like Scooby Doo. If you don't say, hey, Scooby, you want a Scooby snack? Kling doesn't understand you. Okay. So you got to learn its language. But here's the next 15-second theme idea. As soon as I said that, Kling's like, what? You got an idea? Create a video of Claude and a pilot friend talking at a lunch table. Friend says, and in quotes, I give it the scripting. What do you think you're going to find out there today? And then Claude responds, nothing but snow-covered mountains and white everywhere you look. Honestly, I don't know why we're even here or why we are here. Clearly, the only resources are minerals. So it makes no sense for us to be here. We're not miners. Now, clearly this happens before he sees what he sees. Okay, he's a very skeptical person before he sees it. So let me show you what that scene actually looks like. So go here to the actual video prompt. This is the very last thing that I made. Now, I don't know whether you're going to be able to hear it or not. I hope you are. Let's see. How do I even start it from a full screen? I guess I'll have to start it and then do a full screen. Oh, I see what's going on. I got to go to directing. Okay, so I've already directed this. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to start this. How come it isn't loaded? Oh, I got to go to the last scene. I see what I did. Give me 1 second here. It's loading the last scene that I did. And look over to the left and you see all the scripting there. Basically copy pasted what I did on Grok over into this. And then I highlighted their names and actually chose it from within my account where I have a picture of them so it knows who I'm talking about, right? Now, here's the actual scene. Okay, I don't know whether you were able to hear that or not. I hope that you were. But that's an example of how you prompt a video clip. Now, these used to be super expensive. Okay, these used to be super expensive. A video clip for a 15-second clip used to be like 5,000 credits. Okay, now the credit system, I don't understand it. Don't ask me to explain it. But if you look at the number of credits that I have a month, I've got 120,000 credits. But 5,000 credits go pretty fast when you only have 120,000 credits, right? Well, for a 15-second clip now, and let me see what it is, what it runs. It's half that, less than half that, 2250. Or, yeah, 2250. So I can make a ton more videos. So the credits don't roll over to the next month. So it's like you have to either use all your credits during the month, which is much harder to do now, by the way. I got to spend a lot of time making clips in order to get those credits used than I did before. Before I could make, 20 clips at that rate, and basically you're out of credits for the month. But now I can make 2.3 times more than I used to be able to make, and it takes me a couple of weekends in order to utilize all of that, all those credits and those technologies. So You can see how available that the world has made the ability to tell stories. I can tell a story like we always have done around campfires and kitchen tables and grassy knolls. We've always done it since the beginning of time. I can even envision Adam and Eve maybe, sitting around a circle with God, and God's telling stories of things that happened long time before we um, even existed. Who knows, right? Who knows? But we've been telling stories a long time. Stories are part of our culture. Stories are the way that we learn and we educate. So this, I think, is going to be a very useful tool to being able to help people understand what self-governing looks like, and especially as it pertains to stewardism, because that's the whole concept that I want to interweave into all of this video. I want to interweave the idea of stewardism as we continue to develop the concept of stewardism, to interweave it into these videos is going to make a large impact. And I don't know how you guys feel about Christian movies, but most of them are pretty cheesy. Most of them are unrealistic. Most of them are like useless. They got the same like rhythm to them. All of them, they all have this very same rhythm, and it just it's like a junk movie. So to be able to produce something that's quality, that's cinematic, that actually has a driving story, and that someone actually takes the time to make sure that the pieces of the movie are um, are quality and they actually match and fit together. To me, that's uh, it's priceless. And the fact that I can now do this utilizing the technology that we have today without going to a bank, without going to a studio, without having to uh, undoubtedly tie yourself to a contract with a most likely evil person. Because let's face it, movies, culture, the whole culture has transitioned into completely Babylonian. It's evil from start to finish. And it's very, very hard to find anybody out there to connect with for help that isn't connected to the evil. So, um, so this is I'm just showing you around, giving you an example. Here's another thing. You see the scene behind there? You see all of all those random people. You see the windows and what's outside the windows, and you see the structure itself. All of that, I've learned. You have to prerequisite even your video with those. Let me show you some. So I showed you people. I got to show you places. These are places I've had to create. Come on, load. Here we go. Finally, it's loading. So, here's the mess hall up at the top. This is the scene you just watched was the mess hall, and it's appropriate to 1928. It's an appropriate 1928 style military mess house or mess hall. Excuse me. Why did I call it a mess house? Isn't it an outhouse? Is a mess house? Okay. Over here we have an authentic base in Antarctica in the year 1928. It's authentic because all the pieces of it would have been correct. Even to, by the way, let me make it big so I can show you this. You see, it shows those British flags. All right, so I had to correct that. And I got to go to my history. Oh gosh. No generators yet. Okay, well, I don't know what's going on there. But I did have it corrected, and I don't know why it's not giving me the option to show it. But I corrected even the flags to the proper 1928 flags. Because, there was no 50 states in 1928. There's only 48 states in 1928. So it's even to that exact detail. You have to tell the AI what you are doing and what you are looking for. So those are just some of the frustrations I run across. You can see one of the Mulligans is Noah Mulligan. This is his bedroom right here. I think that there's a dog hitting my door from the outside. It's always something around here. This is Noah's room. You can see outside of his window is a South Dakota prairie field. It appears to be snowy, which was incorrect for the time and the season that I'm filming in. So I had to get that corrected as well. So again, showing you some of the frustrations. If you do not tell this model where or what time or season it's going to expect snow, because South Dakota is snowy for so much of the year. Here is the Mulligan's bedroom. So it was important for me to get the patriarch and matriarch's bedroom, because many of the scenes that I have of them praying together, of them conversing together, waking up together, are in this bedroom. So I had to create an authentic bedroom. Of course, this is staged for today, so that's a walk-in closet over there, by the way, guys. But you notice the big picture of Claude Mulligan there on the nightstand? That's very important to the series, the movie as well, or the TV series. So this is the antique shop. So this is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This is the antique shop. So I had to create the antique shop, and I generated multiple angles of it so that there would be consistency in the filming. So when you look at the different angles, one of the angles shows the delivery doors, and that's where the box truck comes and picks up the bell and goes off to deliver the bell to the farm. So the details of this are immaculate. You have to be very, what am I doing? I just downloaded again. I was trying to get out of this. Oh, okay. Let me just go back to locations here, and it'll take me out. Here we go. All right. So I'll show you a couple more. This is inside the Mulligan's kitchen. That's their family kitchen. Beautiful, big farmhouse kitchen. Cross on the wall, the American flag. Those are things that I wanted there to exemplify the kind of people we're talking about. This is the inside of the antique shop. Very important to do that, because there are some scenes that take place inside the antique shop, and for consistency, I want it to always look the same way, right? So there's the inside of the antique shop. So there's a lot of thinking, forethought that goes into these kind of things. This here is a little random building in the middle of a South Dakota byway, right? This would be a county road in South Dakota. You can see the plains out there, right? This little tiny inconspicuous place is the secret lair of the of the spies, the ones that are spying on people who may have more knowledge than they're supposed to have. This is their little secret lair. Now, not very much takes place outside of it, but I needed an outside in order to create an inside. And I did create an inside, I just don't see it here. It's not giving it to me right now. But, and even to the detail of, I told you guys, I have like a family rite of passage type of ritual that's going to take place maybe at the end of the first episode, possibly in the middle of the second episode. And I had to create a place for it. The inconsistencies of just saying, a field surrounded by a grove of trees, or the inconsistencies of things that happen when you tell it something as simple as that is remarkable. So I had to be extremely specific about what I was looking for. So that's another one. And I'll show you one more. Edna's Diner. This is one of the probably within the first 10 minutes of the movie, of the TV series first episode, you're going to go into Edna's Diner, and we needed some visuals of that. So you see the kind of work that goes into this. There's just a lot of things that you have to think about, and you learn as you go. Because I tried to just create prompts of places, and they were so inconsistent, it was ridiculous. Like if you say radio tower, you never get the same radio tower twice. So you have to create a radio tower that you want, and then use that radio tower in your film. So, I'm just what I'm trying to show you is the capabilities that are out there of us to be able to utilize these tools to tell authentic, real, and good stories, so that people can wake up, so that they can wake up. I'm just trying to wake people up. And show them that there's a better way. And because of the time and the season that I believe we're in, I think that self-governance is more important than it ever has been. It just is. It's more important than it ever has been. So let me remove that and come back to you guys. So I've shown you what I'm doing. I've explained why I'm doing it. And now I'm just going to lay it at your feet and ask you to be praying as I continue to put this together. I didn't show you any of the other families because some of the other families have not yet been created. I have created a family from Ireland. I've created a family from, I think it's Botswana. There's different. There's a Romanian family that I've been working on. But those are, late season, second, third, fourth, fifth season type of entities, and I don't, there's no point in bringing those up at this point, even if I had them. So I do ask for your prayers as I continue to do the work and to staple these pieces together, utilizing editing software that I have and correcting mistakes that the AI makes from time to time and mistakes that I make from time to time. Just putting it all together to make it a really powerful cinematic production that brings people hope, that brings people understanding, and that brings people to the feet of Jesus Christ. That's where we're going. So with that is really all that I have. I hope that you enjoyed this. Pass it on, please. Yes, thank you, Plane Flyer. Do please give it a like. Let's get this out to other people that are like-minded. Um, you know, the expense of this is not as unfavorable as it once was. Um, but if someone comes along and has a little extra, you know, it would be cool to go to buymeacoffee.com and just throw a little bit in the pot. That would be helpful. But is it required? Absolutely not. God is good and faithful to take care of every single need that I have. He will use some of you. And if you're not able, he'll use me. So this is, I'm very excited about this project, and I'm very excited about the bigger project of just Privateers Volley altogether. So let's see. What is that? If I fall into 100K, I'll give you $5. Man, I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. $5. If you give me some male and female bucks and they can do their thing inside the box, that's all good too. What do we got here? What is it? I'm not sure. It didn't really give me a little a thingy. So let's see, what other comments do we have here? Your attention to detail will make a big difference here. So much AI is slop. No question. And I don't want to be slop. There's nothing like producing slop to get what you are doing ignored. Let's see. Yep. The antique shop is definitely much more. I hear you. Let's see, any other. No good science fiction anymore. All are horror and evil. Yeah, and this can border a little bit on science fiction, I would say, because we are going to get into some subjects that are related to old world. Like I mentioned, we're in the first episode, you're going to be face to face with what bells were used for at one time, and there's a lot of people that are still, there's a lot of simpletons. That's my word for it. In the world today, that have never heard that bells had any impact on human emotion or anything of that ilk. Let's see. Yes, I'm looking through the chat here. Man, you guys are amazing. Yeah. So Robert, on my phone, too small for me. You have to come back later and look at it in a bigger place, because the stuff that I showed, I think, is pretty wild. But again, thank you for all of your chat, your conversation, all that you guys are doing. And let's see. Yeah. Let's go ahead and promote that. Don't forget, if you want to read Saturday morning, let me know by tomorrow. So those of you who want to join Plane Flyer 21's channel tomorrow morning, or no, not tomorrow morning, but what is it, Saturday morning that you guys do that? Let Plane Flyer know so that he can include you on that. Really appreciate the connection with the different channels. Randy with the C2K report, Jonathan with the Plane Flyer 21 channel. I'm sure there's other channels that I can't, I'm not specifically thinking about, but I've got some pretty cool things coming up. I got an interview with Vicky Joy in early September. That's coming up. I have some more stuff. I'm trying to get a hold of some people and have some conversation about deep things, but it's hard to get people to come to a channel with 99 subs. That it really is. It's hard to get people because people are like, oh, yeah, you got a small channel. Why should I go there? What's the advantage of going there? So anyway, I will be quiet, let you guys go. I appreciate you very much. And remember that every single thing that we do here at Privateers Volley, it really is all about the blood. God bless. See you next time.
Thanks for joining our swashbuckling episode.